Hey, welcome to the 4WO shit show. This is my professional voice. Anyway, we're gonna do we're straight we're not straying away, but we're also branching out to do some stuff other than paintball and random shittiness. This is gonna be our first paranormal podcast. Where you actually people are gonna come on and tell stories about supernatural, paranormal, weird shit they know, anything that's ever weird's ever been going on. Of course, this is the Bill, first guest. First guest. Uh, I think everybody knows the Bill that's in the paintball world for the most part. Paranormal world probably getting ready to meet the Bill for the first time, maybe. Um, I think we're going to make a camping trip to go visit some Mothman shit later next year.
Yep.
So
Yep.
we may have another story after that. So it might be fun. But Bill's got a story he wants to tell, and I'm gonna go ahead and we'll let him tell his story, and we'll talk about it and everything, and hopefully we'll get some interest in, and people like the show. So go ahead and take over, Bill.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me on the inaugural show of the paranormal kind. So, what's crazy is because we have a background in paintball, of course, for those first time watchers, we're both semi professional slash retired. What
Yeah,
were we
retired.
calling it? Um, what was it?
Uh, I'm not sure with that one.
We were bashing on,
Oh, East Lips.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we were our own Easter libs too. So you got to be your number one fan. I tell everybody I'm my number one fan. So,
I appreciate that.
but yeah, my paranormal, and I don't really. I'm a firm disbeliever. I grew up. My mom was one of those ladies that bought the National Enquirer, the Weekly World News. We read the Bat Boy. Shit. All kinds of crazy stories of the weird that makes the stuff you see on news now tame realistically.
Yeah.
So, you had some paranormal shows, but I never really was into it. I never really thought anything of it, and I was always one of those, well, I believe you, but until I have it happen to me, I'm going to be a disbeliever, you
Yeah.
know. So I had a few incidents happen as childhood. But the one thing that really stands out in my mind, and is a perfect segue for the new direction of the show here, is that it's paintball related.
All right.
So, of course, I've been playing paintball since they started using coal in the paint guns way back in the old days, when we had to mine that ourselves before we went out, farmed our own paintballs from the paintball trees, picked them fresh right before the game.
Yeah. Back in the '80s, right?
Yeah, back when you ordered them, back when you got them in 10 round tubes, that was four
Nice.
tubes did you all day. So I've been in the woods, not just playing paintball. Grew up in the mountains, obviously from this accent. There's no city in this boy. Uh, one of my first gifts was a gun.
Yeah.
Who gi- who
Nice.
gives a who gives a 5 year old a gun? My dad. But I gave my 6 year old one, so I kind of carry on the thing. But it's all about husbandry of the land is the way I was taught. You're not just
Yeah.
out there indiscriminately just blasting away at unarmed critters, you know. So I did a lot of hunting, and only strange stuff I ever heard or saw in the woods was stuff for the first time, like mountain lions and stuff like that. So you're a little frightened at first, but my dad, being part Native American, he would just giggle and laugh and tell me exactly what the critter was that was yelling. So I learned to be comfortable in the woods.
Yeah.
So I myself have went off hunting at a young age all by myself. Sunrise, or before the sun ever rises, I'm out there setting up, getting ready. Squirrel hunting, deer hunting, pheasant hunting, running beagles, you name it. I've hunted it in the woods. No real big game, but pretty much deer is where I stopped at. So, you know, I've never had an experience like a lot of people talk about with singing in the woods, m- shadow movement, shadow people. A lot of that's the big thing. Uh, I've never experienced any of that. The only time I've ever been creeped out is when I had smelled a bear.
Yeah.
And snakes don't bother me, nothing like that. Rattlers, nothing like that. My pop taught me how to put snakes to sleep and stuff. So I ain't afraid of none of that. Bears, though, will rip your face off.
Oh yeah.
And there's not a lot you can do against a bear, even
No.
armed, especially if you walk right up on one. And I've walked up on deer. I've been posted and had deer walk up on me because I was so well hidden, and like I said, my dad taught me right. When I set up to hunt, you know, I grew up with all those Vietnam vets telling me stories. I grew up all those shows, so like in my mind, I was a sniper hunting my prey. So I took it serious, even as a
Yeah.
kid. Not like we were starving or anything like that, but it was all part of the husbandry of the land. You know, you hunt within the season and you do everything appropriate according to the law, and that controls the population so diseases don't get out of whack.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't see that in hunting. They don't understand, that we're all us rednecks are just out to scream, oh, unarmed squirrel, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of it comes down to husbandry, or in the poorer communities, actual sustenance. So, I tell everybody I used to hunt deer until I started playing paintball. And then I'm, hunting man, so to say, the ultimate prey. So I've seen guys dressed in every manner of costumes. You have too, even
Yeah.
guys dressed in Sasquatchy like. Most times it's loud colors, bananas. I played with the Pope one time. That was great. Does he shit in the woods? He shoots in the woods. I didn't see him shit in the woods, but I did play with the Pope.
Nice.
But you know, when you're playing paintball, or just like anything where you're engaging a target, where you're hunting somebody, you have those silhouettes, those images, those outlines in your mind. And of course, we all know why people wear camouflage to break out the human outline. But of course, different camouflage works in different environments and give you different results based on distance, light, and everything like that too.
Yeah.
Well, you know, how many times have you walked up on, you've seen something from afar in the woods and it looks strange because your mind hasn't made a picture with of it sees a silhouette and it doesn't make a full picture in your mind, and then your mind tries to start to put in reasoning like movement, like you start
Yeah.
looking for that movement.
Yeah. Happens a lot.
And I don't know if they did this with you guys in the Air Force for observations and stuff, but you know how like we were trained at night, to look on the outlines, to use the outsides of the eye. Don't look directly at something because the rods and cones pick up the movement and your brain can build a faster picture actually.
Hmm.
And that's why when I play paintball, I don't look exactly at my target. I kind of look off to the side. I did that in karate too when I would fight one, especially if I had to fight two guys at once for a tournament or whatever, for belts or whatever, I would look off
Hmm.
because number one, when somebody's looking at your eyes trying to see what you're doing, that throws them off. but I just knew that from early age, and then of course through military training and stuff, that your peripherals really have a lot to do with that initial pickup of that image and what your brain sees. And you see that image from a distance, and as you get closer, your brain starts to fill in the picture. And usually
Yeah.
that's because you're close in the distance, the light's changed. Now your mind is able to build a picture from it. So then you're like, oh, I see what I'm looking at. A stump that looks like a person,
Yeah.
or a busted over tree that looks like, oh, is that a Sasquatch? You know. So we're predetermined to see images anyways. You know, like that's why when we play paintball, we'll hide, we'll squat. Because if you stand up, you see a person. Those are the easiest guys to shoot. The human
Yeah.
silhouette, easy to see.
Yeah. It's like when we look at clouds and we see pictures in the clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Polidoria or Palidoria, I think is what
I
that's
can't
called, or
remember.
something like that.
Can't
But
remember what
you
it's
know what I'm
called. I
saying.
know. Yeah, I know
Like
something. Yeah.
the big famous one is the face on Mars.
Yeah.
And it's just a rock. It just happened to be the
Unfortunately.
picture. Yeah, the picture. Well, so far we know.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I, I hope there's life out there somewhere.
Oh, like they said in Monty Python, bugger all on life if there's if this is it.
Pretty much.
But back to seeing things.
Yeah.
I'm one of those guys. Even though I see it with my eyes, I know my brain might be thinking otherwise because of past experiences, or uh, where you bring in ideas from something else and put it on what you see. Kind of like how those crazy Southern Baptists for a while were seeing the devil's number in those monster drinks. They
Wow.
were reading something into the wording and
Yeah.
the lettering, like when I was little, all the records playing backwards with the backmasking track. Some of that stuff was made purposely. Other stuff was
Oh
just coincidence. You know,
yeah.
Thank you, Tipper Gore.
Yeah. There's actually a metal band named after her, which is pretty awesome.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
Tipper
she
Gore.
did some heavy shit back in the '90s. Like she's the reason why all parental advisory stickers are on. We're all
She
CD. CDs were a thing we listened to music on in case anybody's listening to this that didn't live through the '90s. We had things called CDs instead of Spotify.
and honestly, what she did helped a lot of artists sell more records.
Yep, especially the rap artists. Like you saw parental advisory on there. That's the one you bought.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Ice T's, uh, Cop Killer album. That had explicit shit all over it. Oh, that had to be
Yep.
a buy. Had to be a
Oh
buy.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I want to even
That's
say that after she did that, they put that on Metallica albums and shit.
I'm not sure. I don't think there's ever on a Metallica album, but I know
They
there's a
did on
lot. There's
Nine
a
Inch
lot of metal
Nails
albums.
stuff. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
all the metal stuff.
there's anything that had like a metal name that sounded anywhere near violent. It got it on there. Like Cannibal Corpse had it on every damn album, of course, because they sung about some crazy shit. But yeah, it was if you sing about violent crimes or anything crazy or had too many cuss words, you got flagged and you had to have a sticker on your CD.
Oh yeah, that was the good days.
Now,
Alice
now you just what I
Cooper
want to.
doing his shows.
Yep.
Then you
Oh
had
yeah,
uh, what's his nuts, Marilyn Manson.
yeah.
Tucking
Marilyn
up the
Manson puts
rebel.
on a good show.
I mean, you get what you pay for. That's for damn sure. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a wild time.
uh, and I guess as other shows, we tend to go off on crazy
It
tangents.
it's gonna happen. It's it's
Yeah.
it's just gonna happen. Yeah,
So, you know, I've spent a lot of time. Obviously, we've already established I've spent a lot of time in the woods. I've seen a lot of things. Nothing has
Yeah.
ever spooked me, uh, especially a second time after I figured out what it was the first time.
Yeah.
And I've spent a lot of time on paintball fields by myself, building, working, laying boundaries, rebuilding bunkers and stuff for different fields that I've worked for. So this was circa 2003, 4, right when the electros were hitting.
Yeah, I wasn't around for that.
So I had the honor and the opportunity to basically run the field at Health Survivors.
Yeah.
And I split that duty evenly with Sean McCullough, who took the position. And originally Popeye, and anybody who's been around since the 80s or even early 90s of paintball know the name Popeye. He used to write articles in APG and stuff all the time. Had Popeye's Corner, I think is what it was called, or something like that. So through some weird chain of events, not necessary to the story, I ended up getting a job at this field. Ended up being the Tippmann test field. One of the best fields in North America. The only field where you can shoot red paint. And I was able to help run, manage, build the big games. We would have 2,500 players 3 different times during the summer
Wow.
season over 3 different games. Tippmann World Challenge, Global World Challenge, and Monster Game. And usually Monster Game was when everybody turned out. I want to say the most I ever saw head count wise, not on the field, but entirely, we had like 4,200 people there between vendors, watchers, everything. So when these games end, there's tons of work to be done because we've only got 4 weeks till the next one. Because in Michigan, you've got a shorter summer season because of the weather. Yeah. And with it being in the area that it is, a lot of the companies do company events there. You've got a lot of the auto industry and stuff. So they bring literally 3, 4, 5 Greyhound bus loads of people for private games.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, one time they brought Toyota had like 3 busloads of Japanese guys, and oh my God, the ref in that was probably the most fun I've ever had, and nobody understood a damn thing anybody was saying, but we all spoke paintball. Crazy day. But anyways,
Nice.
I'm literally on the field, me and Sean, the Monday after the end on Sunday at 8 or 9 in the morning, cleaning the field because it's a 180-acre field, rebuilding bunkers because, us paintball players are really hard on the furniture.
Oh, yeah.
And we were constantly modifying the games and building bunkers to induce more action and not those fortified fucking things that you can't fight out of or in, and no one even bothers dealing with them. So my mind was always, since I was the game manager and Sean was the field manager, and we worked equally because Popeye was such a figure that when he went to go to that TV show he ended up being on and left Health Survivor after being there for like 15 years. And Sean had been his understudy since he was like 12. So Sean learned from the best in my book. So as far as running games, building fields, the whole meat and potatoes around a paintball game, Sean knew inside and out. So we both shared everything pretty much equally. So we pretty much did everything the same together as a team. No one had any say over the other one, and we loved it like that. So we would do a lot of the work ourselves because we would hire a lot of teenagers for just the games and use them just on ref days. Plus, you know, you can't just get some of these cats to run a chainsaw or power equipment or a Kubota. And, we had netting 48 feet high. It looked like the gates of, well, you've been there. Looks like the
Yeah.
the gates to uh,
Mordor.
yeah, pretty intimidating if you've
Big
never been
nerds
there
up here.
before. Yeah, yeah, especially if it's dark and clouded. I actually had a girl cry. She didn't want to go on the field because it looked so intimidating. I was like, it's not like that. I was like, it's just
No.
up here. So she ended up having a lot of fun. So anywho, uh, we spend a lot of time rebuilding and refortifying stuff, and plus making changes so things are more safe. Bending the edges of 10 over so people ain't lacerating themselves and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then because we had 180 acres of playfield, really it's more like 120, but still that's a lot of acreage.
Yeah.
A lot of the outlying parts of the field never really got played. So we were constantly trying to build bases further out. We called it the back 40. So we were out there. We had taken a whole load of equipment, tools, water, because believe it or not, one time we were out working and we both got so dehydrated we almost didn't make it back to the dead zone.
Damn.
That was my first year in Michigan, and I didn't understand what those summers are like. Oh my God, it's fucking hot.
Yeah. It gets warmer there. We were there last May and it was warm.
So we had everything we needed so we could stay out for like a 4-hour chunk and
Yeah.
work on the back 40. And we were specifically, and if anybody's ever been to Hell Survivors, this is actually uh this is the West Point, because it was the westmost base.
Yeah.
So we built it. We were out there building it, and we had to build two different things. We had to build a structure so there was a reason to have a flag, and then we had to build the fallout zone. Put the poles in the perimeter that mark the objective, because
Yeah.
in those games you could drop like nukes on. You could nuke different bases if you had certain points and stuff like that, the way that game would go. So we had nuke markers outside of bases. So most of our bases at minimum were 20 by 20 feet. And we might have a structure, a 10 by 10, because it's real easy to build a 10 by 10 with 8 and 10-foot sheets of 10
Yeah.
and 2x4s. And I really liked using 10 because as well as I do, them balls hitting that 10 makes a hella racket.
Oh yeah.
And it's a beautiful noise, especially when you're drilling it and somebody's on the other end. They're scared shitless. They don't know where to go. And I even sometimes I love running up on bunkers like that because I can almost coax the guy out the end of the bunker I want to shoot him from. Because if you just hit the 10 just right, he'll move where you're not hitting the 10, and then you can line up to shoot him out that other side. Little handy trick
Yeah.
from TheBill. So we were out here at West Point, and we had been out here hour and a half, stone cold sober. And we would have a beer at the end of the day, or a J, because it's Michigan, legal,
Yeah.
you know. But we didn't fuck around. You know, I took the job serious. He took it serious. I mean, it was his major income. He was raising
Yeah.
2 kids and a wife on that career. And I was making a healthy penny, you know. So I took it serious.
Yeah.
And he did too. Of course, we goofed around and had fun with it because you cannot not, you know. So we were out at the West Point area and we had been working on this bunker, setting these poles, making noises, you know, just being our loud, stupid, goofy selves. Now, the perimeter of the field is parts of the city of uh, Hell,
Pinckney.
Pinckney. Yeah, it's the edges
Yeah.
of Pinckney there. Um, and Hell Survivors is partly built over an old uh, landfill because I would find bones out there.
Oh,
I found like a whole dog spine,
damn.
you know. Uh, as when we moved a building, dug some dirt up, saw that under there. You know, there was always we couldn't dig too deep, so we had to be careful where we dug trenches because we dig right into some trash layer.
Damn. That'd be awful.
So we knew, you know, after working there, and Sean worked there forever, he knew where to build stuff the best and all that too. So we took both our knowledge to try to figure out how to build these bases the best we could to have a reason so guys would walk 120 yards or 120 acres away to take a base, especially on Sunday evening when they've been playing like crazy, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So we were putting we were putting care into this base, and basically we were building 10 by 10, what I call a broken 10 by 10. You've got two L's, and instead of a box, you have the box open, so you've got an in and an out, and nobody can really hide too well, you know. But you can still got it's still a good bunker, but it induces shooting. And I was building it specifically. I was like, let's use just 10 on this one because the noise will carry and people will want to come to that gunfight. And that would draw more people out here. See, I have this
Yeah.
shit down to a fucking science, right? At least I think I do. So probably 11 o'clock, sun's almost top, wind's blowing just a little, regular noises in the woods. Of course, we're making all kinds of noise, beating and banging on that fucking tin. And I was bent over, leaning in, bending the nails over. And all of a sudden, and I'm just checking to see if Sean's checking in with me because he may be able to join and confirm that I'm not full of shit. But I was over there just bent over, just making all kinds of noise. And Sean just gets quiet. He stops hammering and he elbows me. And he's like, Billy, what the fuck is that? So I stand up and I look at him and he's looking straight ahead. And I've only known Sean a few months, but we spent a lot of time together and nothing rattled him. He's cool. He is calm as a cucumber, that guy. Matter of fact, I learned to be more calm from him. Uh he's frozen. So I look at him and I'm kind of stunned for a minute. I thought maybe he was going to do something goofy, show me a joke or, you know,
Yeah.
because I was learning a lot of that Michigan humor. And I go to look forward at what he's looking at because I'm like, what the fuck are you looking at? And I look forward, right? And, you know, I talk a lot of shit. I tell a lot of stories. But when I'm serious about something, I'm dead fucking serious.
Yeah.
And I'm dead fucking serious when I say not more than 15 feet from us was something. Now, what I saw two spindly legs. I saw kind of like not a teardrop shaped body, but think of like kind of like a candy corn, but rounded,
Yeah.
and then give it two spindly legs. Of course, it wasn't candy corn color. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
use an analogy here. And it had a skinny, narrow neck that went up into a those goddamn Q-tips that they stick in your urethra when you've been out with those ladies outside the base. That big end, the way it's bowed.
Yeah.
Not Q-tip, but that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Of a head. Okay? And the eyes were like elongated, but they were black. So I don't know what it was about me at that time. I didn't feel fear, but I certainly was like, what the fuck was this? What is this that I can almost touch? So my dumbass country boy self just decides to do the next best fucking thing. I pick up my fucking hammer like I'm going to throw it because I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
I mean, the bunker's between us and it's like 5-8 feet on the other side, you know. So like I said, 18, 19 feet totally from me. I'd had to run around the bunker or jumped over it, which was a little too high to jump with my short, narrow stretch. So I just like, fuck it, throw the hammer at it. I don't know what it is, but it's about to meet my craftsman.
Yeah.
So as I picked the fucking hammer up, and I was just ready to let it go. I didn't give a shit what it was. I was about to disprove or prove whatever this, and I don't want to say alien, but it didn't have arms, right? So it definitely looked odd.
Yeah.
Alienish in nature with that design. So I had that hammer raised and I was about to throw it. And then all of a sudden, this creature turned its head and instantaneously, both me and Sean go, "It's a deer."
Hmm.
I have been hunting deer. I probably spent about 4 or 5 seasons hunting deer. Tree stands, hides, foot. I always tried a different style every season.
Yeah.
I've seen deer from every imaginable position you can think of. Wrong. I have never seen a deer standing straight on looking at me. And with the colors of the deer, the whitish chest, the brown outlines, the dark coloring on the eyes to make the eyes look bigger, none of that made my brain see that picture, nor Sean's. But when it's turned its head, you could see that its head's a deer, and then like magically, our brain, oh, it's a deer. But for about 18 fucking seconds there, neither him nor I knew what in the fuck we were looking at. And I'm seriously saying it was close enough to hit with a fucking hammer.
Wow.
So it's not, I'm still a disbeliever,
Yeah.
but as far as believing people and their experiences, I don't discredit them. But I also have to bring in my experiences too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And regular objectivity.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like I know. I know. Like I've heard lots of stories. Like people like, oh, I saw a black shadow out of the corner of my eye. Do you know how many times I've seen the black shadow out of the corner of my eye? That it wasn't anything. It was like a bird flew by or something moved. It's not anything bad. But like it's there are things like that I don't believe. Like I don't believe orb and the whole orb thing. You know, like it's I believe it's dust particles in
Yep.
your camera.
Yep.
I don't
Or a
believe in like
bug on the camera.
yep. I don't believe like I saw this one thing one time. You know, but if you come with me like with an actual believable story, I do want to believe like Fox Boulder, the poster. I want to
I
believe.
want
I
to
want to believe.
believe. Yeah.
I want to believe. I want to believe shit's real. Like if it's not real, then like what's the point? Like I know. I tell people a lot of times like I know Loch Ness monster is more than likely not real because that ocean or I'm sorry that lake froze over during the ice age, and anything that was in that water got crushed.
I used to love anything about the Loch Ness monster.
But I can't really believe the Loch Ness monster is real. Bigfoot, on the other hand, I can believe in Bigfoot. Bigfoot's there's so much forest in this country. I can believe Bigfoot runs around somewhere.
Well,
And
you
people
know
always say,
go ahead.
People always say like if Bigfoot was real, people would find the bodies. My 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 reply to that is you've been how many times you been in the woods? Though people say a lot. How many times you seen a dead bear? How many times have you run across a dead deer? Well, even people like that just play paintball. How many times do you go in the woods and run across a dead squirrel? Run across a dead rabbit? You don't. Like nature finds a way to get rid of that shit real quick. And and you know, there's theories out there that Bigfoot buries his dead. I don't know if that's true, but nature finds a way to eat to consume the whole thing. Like when I was in high school, these guys were out in the national park smoking crack, and they found a dead body. She had been there for like 18 years or whatever, but it but they just happened to be at the right place at the right time. So she had been sitting there for her body had been sitting in that woods for that long, and nobody saw her.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
there's possibilities of like you know you can't just say just because I never saw a body it's not real.
Right.
And since you brought the alien thing with that story, kind of, I I believe in aliens. They've got to be real.
Well, there's
Like
something.
like they've got to be real because there's so many different planets out there. If we're the only ones that have life, that's awful. Um, there's our government's actually saying aliens are real now, so that's weird. Which I don't know what to do about that because when the government tells you something, I honestly don't believe it. So I've been believing in aliens all my life, and now like they're telling me they're real. So I think I'm gonna have to stop believing them. That's just my thing. I'm like, real? You guys just killed me.
Yeah,
But
that's why this timeline's crazy. The government's come out and said aliens are real, and nobody batted a fucking eye.
yep, because it's not the weirdest. It's not the worst thing that can happen right now. Like it's. I mean, we kind of knew they were real. Like the Navy getting those videos leaked was kind of awesome. But like, I think we're pretty much prepared for a terror story like that. Like, hey, aliens real, by the way. Okay, cool.
Well, that's all part of
Okay.
that disclosure movement, you know. There's slow disclosure. They have to do this in stages.
like at the time that these came out, we were under COVID, so like aliens cannot be worse than COVID, so we're cool with it.
Can't be
Like
worse than people were during COVID.
You're locking me down for like almost 2 years because I'm gonna get a cold. Aliens ain't gonna bother me.
Yeah, I don't think they're. I mean, whatever's here, like all that shit in Jersey and everything else, I think, if anything wanted to cause us harm, they would have done it. Could have done it, would have done it, and should have done it ages ago.
I don't know much about the Jersey drones or whatever, but I was listening to Joe Rogan and like apparently it's not a new thing. It's been happening for a while. Just this year was worse. But like our government going, hey, we don't know what they are, but they're not us. They're not bad guys. That kind of throws me off a little bit too. Like you mean tell me that I can cause a ruckus on an airplane and I can get arrested. I can go to the Capitol and sit in a politician's chair and be arrested. But you can fly drones over the country and nobody knows where they're from. And she's like, okay, cool, whatever. That's not a big threat. We don't know what they are. There's a bunch of them. They can do some damage. Whatever. That means that tells me right there that they know what they are. They know where they're from, and they might be from us.
Well, they do say they've been here forever.
Yeah, that's wild. Like it's one of those stories. I don't think those are alien drones, but they could be. Who knows? But I'd probably think more like it's our government over anybody else. So.
Oh yeah.
Like if it was something else, they'd tell us.
It certainly isn't a mothership that Iran has parked off of New Jersey.
Well, like when I was in Germany, my tattoo artist was Russian, and he had a book that showed the first UFO made by Nazi soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
Like actually had a floating UFO.
TheBill.
See, like that was in the 40s, the 30s and 40s. If they were at that point during the 30s and 40s, and we went from like flying around in a airplane for 15 seconds to going to the moon in like 50 years. So if our technology can advance that far in 50 years back then, and right now our technology is advancing so much more from 1930s to now, that's 90 years. We could have UFOs. We could have flying hovering craft. We wouldn't know because our government wouldn't tell us.
Well, Sasquatch is a protected species in North America. It's illegal to hunt Sasquatch in every state.
Wow. See, that's why would they make a rule like that if it wasn't real?
But then again, Tennessee also has a blue law that you can't hunt whales here either.
That's understandable.
Yep.
That's wild. We can't hunt well in Tennessee. I don't think I'll try.
I don't know how I'm going to keep my lamps lit without my whale oil.
You're going to suffer. You're going to go to West Virginia instead and hunt well there.
Mothman.
See, that's going to be fun. Like, see, I would believe in aliens before Mothman, but like it'd be fun if Mothman's real. Like,
I think that Mothman is something entirely different.
It might be. Like it's there. I want to believe shit's out there, even if it is out there, it's pretty scary. I still want to believe shit's out there. And I don't really know what Mothman would be besides a harbinger, but I don't know. It would have to be something not like Bigfoot. It's something totally different.
I still swear up and down all this shit, the sightings, changes in culture, COVID, a TV personality being a president, all this shit was started because of the Large Hadron Collider when they turned that on.
I mean, shit did start getting weird after that. Like Mandela effects kick my ass sometimes.
Now, see, I got a whole new thing with the Mandela effect, but I'm all ears. I'm all ears.
Well, Well, my thing is like, I really didn't look into it until like I actually looked up Mandela's death, and I was like, wait a minute, I remember him dying before that. Like him dying this recently wasn't something I remember him dying in prison.
Oh,
And then,
no.
yeah, see that's why I remember. That's why I remember little shit like that. Like there's little shit like that. Like a lot of us share the same memory of that happening. Like Billy Graham, he died recently too. I thought he died years ago. There's little shit like the Berenstain Bears.
And what
You
is it?
got
The one with is it Shaq is supposed to be in a movie?
it's a Sinbad, the '90s comedian Sinbad. He's supposed to be in a movie
Supposed
called Shazam.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah.
I remember that movie too.
Well, the Mandela effect thing that started with Mandela. I knew it was bumkus because here I'm about to admit something I'm not very proud of. So remember back in the day, well, maybe not. MTV used to play videos. And at
Yep.
night, like at 2 in the morning, they would play like videos from Europe and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I remember a stupid song called Free Nelson Mandela.
Hmm.
So that's why that song made me look him up. So I
Yeah.
kind of followed him for a while. So it was really surprising to me when people were confusing his death and stuff. I was like,
See, I remember. Like I said, I remember him dying, and then I remember him dying again. Like I remember him. I remember a big thing about his death twice. And that's what gets me. Like I honestly remember the first time I heard he died, the second time I heard he died, and like that's cool, whatever. But you keep going down the rabbit hole. Like some of them like the logo changes. Like you remember a logo being one way and this way instead. It's what your brain can
Chick-fil-A.
remember different. Yeah, Chick-fil-A. There's
Chick-fil-A.
Fruit Loops. There's all kinds of different stuff like that. The thing is, over 20, 30 years, companies change their logos.
Mm-hmm.
Or your parents may have called. So, like, I don't know if, like, how backwoods your family was, but it was Walmart's. Not
Yeah.
Walmart, Walmart's.
Or
And
it was Walmart's and Kmart's.
yep, so
Kind of a play
it
on
was always
communism.
it was always something like as a kid, you growing up, you would determine what you called it based on what they heard. You didn't look at the sign. Oh, it's Walmart. So I understand that kind of stuff can like it can pass on, but like the Forrest Gump one kind of threw me a little bit.
What was the Forrest Gump one?
Mama said life is like a box of chocolates. All right, Mama said life is like a box of chocolates. If you go on the internet, people quote life is like a box of chocolates. There's like quotes, there's memes, there's all kinds of stuff. He said, Mama said life was like a box of chocolates. And if you watch the movie now, that's what he says. Life was like a box of chocolates. That's understandable. We might have heard something different. Okay, so then you move on to another one that got me was Queen. We Are the Champions. How does that song end? Like, do you know how the song ends? Like, we are the champions, and then like he pauses a little bit of the world. That never happened. According to nowadays logic, that never happened. It ends with "We are the champions." Done. There's nothing else after that. I always remember hearing. I always remember hearing at the bottom of the world. So, and then you move on to the Star Wars one.
Yep.
Where
I am your father. Yeah.
James Earl Jones was in an interview saying when he read that line, it gave him chills. He was like, "No, this can't be right." He said, "Luke, I am your father." You watch Star Wars now, it's no, I am your father. He never said, "Luke, I am your father." Millions of people misquoted that, include the guy that actually said it in the movie. He misquoted it. And then,
of course, they've
the
chopped those
other,
movies up so much.
well, the other one that got me, the really just like I couldn't remember. Besides the Sinbad thing, because I know Shaq was in Kazam, Sinbad was in Shazam. That's the whole thing. Anyway,
You ever hear
it's a Disney
Sinbad
movie.
cuss?
Sinbad did not cuss back in the day.
He
He was
never cussed. He only cussed one time, and that was
really
on It's Always Sunny,
yeah.
the
that's
episode with
a good
Rob Thomas.
that's a good episode. So Sleeping Beauty. Don't get me mixed up with New Sleeping Beauty where like sorry, it's Snow White. It's Snow White. Yeah, Snow White. I'm sorry, the new Snow White. You know, the new Snow White, the Wicked Witch is jealous of the Snow White's fucking beauty, but the Wicked Witch is fucking hot, so I don't understand it, at all. But anyway, in the cartoon version, mirror, mirror on the wall, right? That's what everybody's quoted all these years. Mirror, mirror on the wall. If you watch it now, magic mirror on the wall. Like it's not the same as it's not the same as mirror. And magic mirror and mirror don't sound the same. So I don't see how people could get that one mixed up.
I think a lot confusion is caused by the internet and sources. And it's going to get a lot worse with AI because now AI is writing all the articles, all the weather, everything like that. So if it picks up something, it's going to carry that through all. It's like bias.
AI write shit for me. Like AI write shit for me sometimes. Like,
people don't understand, but AI is biased, and they don't understand. It's all in the programming.
Oh yeah, like the same thing is like I don't know why we're going down the road with AI like we are. Like we should be putting safety protocol. Like James Cameron told us what's going to happen. He explained exactly what's going to happen whenever you let shit like this happen.
Arthur C. Clarke.
It's not a good like I tell people before they taught AI how to beat us in dogfights in fighter jets. And it's 100% accurate every time, beats the human fighter every time.
Mm-hmm.
So you just taught AI how to kill us. Awesome. So, but yeah, it's AI is going to be a wild thing. I don't like it. I like it for certain reasons, but I don't like it at all for other reasons.
So
like
William Gibson wrote the Necromancer novel, and he pretty much invented the cyberpunk genre. And in some of his novels, there's a virus that gets loose within the network, and it grows its own sentience. This is like born out of AI. So a lot of people have kind of already wrote about this. So,
Yep.
it's like one of those things. It's like, have you guys not seen a bad science fiction movie? You don't give AI freedom,
Like what we're gonna do now next? Like, oh, guess what? We got a good idea. What's that? We're gonna bring back T-Rex. All right, cool, great idea. We're gonna do a bunch of dumb stuff probably.
Well, we saw our first use of an all drone force to fight off a Russian assault. They used ground drones and flight drones and just beat them back. Didn't use not one person. So
that right there's Star Terminator also.
Well, I want us to jump to the giant robots boxing in the desert over control of a country. That's what I want.
That'd be fun. Like no more people dying in wars. That'd be great. But like,
yeah, just big robots.
In 2 years we're supposed to have them from Tesla for $20,000 to $30,000 by 2026. You're gonna have robot buddies.
Have you watched the latest video about the Boston Dynamics Atlas?
Nah, I'm kind of scared to watch that kind of stuff.
if you want to have nightmares, watch it. Now just put
See,
a 243 on it, and then
I remember like when they started doing stuff, they're like, it's so goofy. It'll never be able to do anything like crazy. Yeah, it won't be able to do it in 2 years, like 20 years down the road. When I'm still alive. Yeah, it's wild though. Like I say, we're doing this crazy shit right now, and supposedly the universe has been around for 14 million years. So if somebody got a head start on us, so if their planet developed first, they grew organisms first. The organisms evolved. Those organisms made stuff. They made AI. They made rockets. So they could potentially be here and have already gone through the shit we're going through. So I can see it, and bringing that back to your deer story. I'm going to look at the story again. It's somewhere up in the north. They talk about the deer that aren't deer. There's like there's like a whole
there's a I think it's a Canadian thing.
where like they're deer, but they aren't actually deer, and they can walk around on 2 legs and be weird and shit.
Yeah.
So I mean, whenever you told your story about that, that's kind of, I know it may have been a deer, it may have been a deer, and your eyes and brains play tricked on you, but like, what if it wasn't? Yeah, they're called not deer. Yeah, Appalachian Mountains, Tennessee. Oh, I thought it was further north than that.
Oh, you must be on Reddit.
I'm on Cryptid Wiki.
Huh.
Yeah, so like, yes, but I've heard the story before though. Like, they basically they look like deer, but not look like deer, and then
Many
they act
sightings in
all weird.
Virginia, 30 miles per hour, maybe more on 2 legs.
So I mean, yeah, let's see, from a distance they look like deer, but when they get closer, something is off. So I mean, it could have been a deer. It could have been something like this.
Well, and also too, it says here could be chronic wasting disease. Now, that's another thing I have witnessed firsthand in the woods is CWD, and I'm a fucking proponent again back to the whole husbandry thing and being properly raised with nature in mind. People feed fucking deer all the time and they don't understand how fucking dangerous that is, because
Yep.
all you need is one sick deer eating on that food and another deer who's not sick to come over and eat on that food, and they touch nozzles and it's over. That
Well,
one has it now.
it's not just that. It's like
Tuberculosis.
whenever the wasting disease hits them, it causes them to drool also, and that shit's in their drool, and they drool on the ground, and like some other animal runs up and like sniffs on it, and now they got it. And it's a prion disease, and prions, they can't destroy them. Like they try the highest heat, they try the highest pressure, nothing destroys them. So they're just there.
That
So
prion thing.
that's a scary thing. If it ever jumps to humans, we're all fucked.
Well, I mean, people can have a prion disease.
Mad cow. Mad cow's the same thing, but
Mm-hmm.
it hasn't jumped over from deer to people yet. And mad cow was stupid. Like, why are you killing cows, grinding them up, and feeding them to other cows? Like, that's just
that's third world countries.
That's something bad's gonna happen there.
But I mean, dog food's made out of animal fat, anyways.
Yeah, but you're not like feeding dogs to dogs. If you're taking a sick cow and butchering it and then chopping it up to pieces and then here goes cow. So eat this cow. You're gonna be fine. No, something's wrong. We fucked up on that one. Like mad cows just cause we fucking crimes against nature.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, like I say, I I do want to believe you saw a deer, if that's what you saw. But I also want to believe it wasn't a deer because both of you guys looked at it, and it makes a better story. It makes me feel better.
Well, I mean, Sean hasn't chimed in. He must be busy, but he can confirm he
Yeah,
saw the same shit I saw.
yeah.
So we were both
Well,
just as puzzled. Of course, he's not a deer hunter. His wood
yeah,
stuff is uh paintball, but he does have a Native American background.
yeah. Well,
So, and I have a Native American background. I don't look it, but I
so do I.
do.
So do I.
Uh, but I think a lot of it has to do, again, like I said, husbandry of nature. You're out there with nature. There's nothing to fear with a fucking bear. But I mean, like, just stay the fuck away and you don't have to worry about bears. Bears.
Uh, Bears are the scariest shit ever. They'll
And
eat
I'm
you while
not
you're still alive.
Yeah, and I'm not afraid of any goddamn thing on this planet except for marriage and bears.
Oh, well, have you ever seen an owl in person, like
Yeah,
in the wild?
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
shit freaks me. Those things freak me the fuck out every time. I don't know why.
You ever
Like,
chat with them?
no, I don't want to. I don't want to do anything with a fucking owl. Like those motherfuckers. Like they say like owls peeking in your window, kind of gives off the alien vibe. Like that's what as
Mm-hmm.
people miss.
Mm-hmm.
They say like the face and everything shape kind of reminds you of aliens. So
Mm-hmm.
people
Mm-hmm.
may have seen those instead. But like I've seen owls. Like I saw one. Where it was snowing one night, and me and my ex were going down the road. I'm like, somebody's in the road. I'm like, somebody's in all white in the road.
It was
And
a
then
big
like
old barn owl, wasn't it?
my brain started thinking. My brain's like, that's not a person. I was like, there's something wrong with it. I started thinking, am I getting ready to see like a real ghost in the middle of the road?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like, well, this is weird. This is weird. And we finally get up on it, and it's this giant fucking owl, wings spread out, chasing a rat in the middle of the road. And it's the scariest shit. Like I was on edge for a while, and then every time I've seen an owl ever since, like one of them flew right in front of me, which freaked me the fuck out. You hear them. They freak me the fuck out every time. I don't know why. It's something about owl freaks me the fuck out. I don't know why.
I love them. I think owls and I think owls, platypuses, and squids, octopi, cephalopods, if you will, are not of this planet.
Octopus are not, definitely not. Like their DNA has been found in other places or whatever. So yeah, it's yeah. I can't deal with owls. It's weird. Like if I hear one hooting, I'm like, you son of a bitch, get away from me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. But anyway, good.
Oh, I was just gonna say, a good barn owl you can have a conversation with at night. Woo, woo,
They're too big.
woo.
They're too big and they're too fucking freaky for me.
Oh,
Like, and I think the thing that gets me is like they fly, and you see them fly as fast as fuck, but you
they don't
don't
make
hear
no
it.
noise. Yeah, no,
I
that's
think
why they're
that's
the
what throws me off
best.
of them.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what throws me off because like you'll see it, and if it goes by light, you see the shadow too, but you don't hear shit, and it fucking blows my fucking mind a little bit. But yeah, I appreciate you coming on the show and telling your story. Maybe we get Sean on one day,
To
and
confirm it, yep, tell his
yeah, and then
side of it.
we just keep telling we're gonna bring people like on here. I think you're gonna bring Walsh on here one day.
Yeah, Walsh has a good one.
We're gonna bring Walsh on one day, and we're gonna have a conversation with him. And like I say, this is just the start of it. I think I have a couple stories I want to tell, and we'll hopefully get some interesting stuff going on here.
Yeah, it's a
I
nice
appreciate you
take, a
coming out here. And
nice change of
was
the
that?
show. Nice take.
Oh yeah. Oh definitely. Like I say, I'm gonna call it a day. So I say I appreciate you coming on, and we'll see everybody next time.
All right, brother.